Hey everyone, I guess we'll get started right now. This is Sarah Weber with Student Chapters. This is the four-year competition Q&A. Go ahead and press *6 to mute your phones. We have Carrie Slattery here who is going to share a brief overview of the project, and then we'll have some Q&A time. Also from Toll Brothers, we have Robin Hogan here, and I believe also Kelly Winter. Carrie, go ahead and take it away.
Okay, I'm Carrie Slattery, and Diane and I have been the consultants at NAHB for student competitions for the last 5 years. We retired from teaching construction management in Missouri State before that, so this is our fifth go around, and we're the ones who answer the questions on the Google groups if you connect to that. So as Sarah said, I'm just going to do a quick overview, and then we'll open it up for questions. All this is information that you already seen, which is the summary to get things started. So as everybody knows now, this is a roughly 130-acre development. It's part of a community called Desert Color. It's in St. George, Utah, which is a little less than about 2 hours from Las Vegas, right there in the southwest corner of Utah. The Desert Color is 1,000 or so acres, so this is just a small part of that. And we have just gave you a sketch here. The Desert Color is this whole area between I-15 on the west and this Highway 7 on the east. And this, the area, obviously, you have the boundary. It's not a circular area, but it's right next to these things you saw next to the interstate are the ports of entry for those two states. So, this is, we gave you, part of your target market. This is, it's drawn up as age-restricted active adult community. So that is what your proposal must address. And there's rules for that are easy to find exactly what that means. Something else we're doing differently this year, instead of giving you a price for the land, we want you to determine what would be an appropriate price to offer based on everything you do in your financial analysis. This is something that the sponsor recommended to us is the way they work a lot of projects these days. And so we gave you the financial goals for your company. And we gave you a closing date of March 1st of next year. So we'll talk about it a little more tomorrow when we do a financial analysis webinar. But to come up with an offer price, the way I would look at it, you guess a price up front, you run your analysis. Hopefully you have it in a spreadsheet. So all you have to do is you run the analysis, you find out what your IRR is, and we've done that in the past couple of years. If the IRR is too low, you have to then that means that your offer price is too high. You have to reduce it. If the IRR is too high, then that probably means you want to adjust your offer price the other way. So hopefully that, again, a little bit of a twist this year, but it shouldn't be a major problem for anybody. Also, we, our sponsor is a large publicly owned company, so they look at this as being self-financed. Sometimes we have smaller developers. The students call you out and propose borrowing money from banks. But for this project, you won't, you don't do that as part of this project. We'll let the, senior people at the company worry about that. So if there's no loans, to be considered, nor another outside finance to be considered for the problem this year, like we have in recent years. So here's part of our financial goals: is we expect to have a minimum of 20% internal rate of return and a project closeout in 5 years. So those are some parameters that we don't always give you, but this year we've given you those as your goals. Again, we looked at our location map. This, again, is a summary of what's in the problem description and the rules and guidelines. So a couple years ago, we started requiring an executive summary. So well-written and concise. You can't, that's always a goal. We've reduced our page limit this year to just 50-page maximum. I think we have 38 teams this year, so that's 1,900 pages of proposals for the judges to read. So we think that's enough. So shoot for the 50-page maximum. You got to look at, sometimes teams put a lot of things in that aren't necessary. St. George doesn't have any major sports teams or anything like that, but so it's just the senior executives need to know the important stuff, what makes this how you support your offer price. And also this year we require that you put your proposal together in the order of the way the topics are listed here, and also the way the topics are listed on the grading summary report that we get from the judges. Again, this is something to help simplify it for the judges, so when they're going through the rubric, going through your proposal, everything is in order. So again, that is, that's in the rules and guidelines this year that you use this table of contents, put your information in this order. So, and again, it's just a reminder, we do have this financial analysis tool that we developed a couple years ago that helps you put in all the different costs and, your projected sales rate and things like that. And it calculates IRR value for you. So we'll have this webinar tomorrow, same time, just the next day. So that's my summary here. So we already have one question. So go ahead and start. If you have questions, go ahead and you can ask them verbally if you're on your phone, or you can type them into the chat screen. So the first question is: leasing land an option, or do we have to make an acquisition? No, leasing is not an option. We have to, the way that we're setting up the problem, the way the problem is structured, you have to buy it. Okay, I'll have to refer this Martin Carr's question. From the sponsor. Is the proposed zoning on page 11 of the South Area Zone Plan approved? Approved.
The zone plan is approved, but the tentative map would need to be filed. I have to look at this red outlined area, though.
Okay. So next question here is, do we need to use entrance plan given in the important materials? Yeah, the sketch that that was provided with the problem statement and all is where the main entrance will be. The 5 years is from closing on the land, so it's 5 years to do your additional development and sell all the lots. Yeah, I believe if someone in the sponsor wants to correct me, but I believe you are allowed to do up to 20% of, I guess it's 45 and over. I believe that's the case in this development also. So it's 55 plus for 80% and 45 plus, unless I'm wrong on that. Somebody correct me if I believe that's the case.
Yeah, that is the case in this adult active.
Okay. I'm sure you're not allowed direct connection to I-15, so you'll come in through the entrance on the north and then come in through that entrance that's shown on the sketch we gave you.
This is Robin again. Looking at page 11 of the zoning plan, I'm not sure what that red dotted line represents. This active adult area is in the South Phase area, so I will reach out to the master developer and have that as a follow-up.
We'll say we got a question on the Google groups yesterday from Michigan State about some of the utilities and things like that. So we've worked with the sponsors on that. We'll get some post on that later today or tomorrow. So there's some more information about just what will be available and where the utilities will be. Basically, you expect the developer, Desert Color, to bring the utilities to the boundary of our property, and then you'll have to take them from there. But we'll post that in the next day or so. Okay, questions about whether the land could be negotiated to be in phases or in its entirety. For the purpose of the problem, we've always just said you have to buy it all up front so that everybody's doing the same thing. Otherwise, it just gets too complicated for the competition. So so it must be all purchased on March 1st of 2020. Question about there's an AutoCAD drawing in the problem information that is a topographic drawing for the site. So it just has a sketch of the boundary, has the contour lines, but that oh yes, yeah. So yes, you just have to go with the line that's outlined on there. It's not, I don't know unless sponsor has that. But I don't think we have a defined boundary survey for that. Here's a question: can you clarify setbacks on the houses, or where we find that information? Robin, or do you all have any comments on that?
That is in the zoning plan.
Okay.
There are a couple exhibits. I just happen to pop to one page, like page 65, depends on what product. But there's a couple of chart summaries that say what the front side garage setbacks are. Also would recommend reading the corresponding paragraphs that pertain to that section. It gives some clarification outside of the table. But yes, the zoning plan has the setbacks.
The next one is the south zone plan mentioned a secondary access. Is that supposed to be in our area? We do show on the. Go ahead.
Access. While there's no development currently there's no development currently planned for south of this community, an access road needs to be provided to the south. So it won't be an immediate secondary access. It'll be a continuation.
Okay, and that's shown on the sketch that we have of the boundary. So, are there any SAC, WAC fees we should be aware of? Not familiar with that acronym, so hopefully you are.
No, I don't know what that acronym is.
Okay. NDSU, if you can spell that out for us, we'll. No. Yeah, the sewer access water. I mean, that's all provided by my understanding by the Desert Color community. So that's there's no additional charge. It's part of what we're paying for the property to have that access, as I understand it.
There are fees that will have to be taken into consideration at building permit, actual meter fees. At building permit time, fees are paid.
Is there any place, Robin, that they could find what that would be? Is that the St. George?
The fees are available on the various websites. Give me one moment and I'll get right back to you.
Okay. So in the reference to South Area Plan, are we required to follow all architectural and landscape styles and standards? Yes, I mean that's the part of the master plan for the community. And the next question about we are not familiar with building on blue clay. I'd say that's something you'll just need to research. In our experience teaching construction management, we found that students found their soils classes very valuable when they got out in the field. Diane taught the soils class one of the places we taught. So.
So with regards to the fees, St. George, their building permit will have the fees listed that get paid, such as water, sewer, parks and recreation, all that good stuff. In addition to that, the Dixie Power impact fee.
Okay.
So that's all publicly available information.
Okay. It's all governed by St. George, being the St. George city limits. Okay. The next question about the monument locations that are outlined in the zone plan. Expect is that going to be a concern for the project? You have any thoughts on that, Robin? Or?
I'm looking at that exhibit right now. Give me one moment. This community will be responsible for its own monumentation, so it should be accounted for at the entrance locations.
The question about whether or not HOA fee has been established for the community. Do they need to consider about the HOA? Will that just be something? Okay. So yeah, the teams need to decide that. Yeah. Or sorry, what would you say, Robin?
Yeah, there will be a sub-association that the students will need to account for, you know, for the amenity while, you know, the community is being built out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the response about the HOA is yes, you are responsible for setting that up to, you know, during the time of construction, as you would on, I guess it's a pretty standard thing for developments like this. You know, looking at what your amenities are and what it's going to cost to maintain those after the construction's completed. So there's a question about exactly where the property starts relative to the berm located along the wash. I mean, I think if you look at the topographic map, should be able to get, you know, look at the boundaries on the topographic map and determine it from there. Zach, are any early submittal procedures? Can they submit at any time, or when is are they able to submit the proposal?
Yeah, you can send it to our student chapter Gmail at any time before the due date. Nadia, I'll go ahead and send you the, I'll just respond to the chat with the name of the email.
Question is, will there be an existing road leading to the possible secondary connections outlined on the entrance road plan? I guess those were the roads drawn out in the original plan years ago. Robin, is that planned for there to be a road out there, or is that still only if we really need it?
That road is not a required road, so access needs to be provided to the south, either via a road around it or through it, but no, that circular road can be modified.
Or just left out altogether?
Or left out altogether, as long as access is provided through or, from the site to the south.
Yeah, okay. And all they're responsible is just have the road stubbed out to the south on our property, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, Rob, we're looking at the map, and I think what some of it is that there's a circle shown to the north of the property with a road going out to the west, and we still have that we call the old street alignment right there by the port of entry. Is there a road plan for that right now, or is that just?
No, so that you're talking about the circular road, like kind of along the port of entry, right, and then the south edge. Yeah, that road is not required. It can be included. It doesn't have to be. The only criteria is that access to the south be provided. So that was a conceptual alignment from way back, but it is not required.
Zach, do you got a response to the Google Groups question board?
Yeah, I'll send the link right now.
So what do they have to do? They just go there? They have to you give them permission to enter, or can anybody get on it?
Anyone from the web can access it, but it's kind of hard to locate it. You'll basically need the URL. The URL is in the current rules and guidelines. I don't know which rules and guidelines he has right now, but I'm just going to send the link.
Yeah. Robin, do you have any comment on their question about the zone?
Yes, give me one moment.
The other question is, would it be beneficial to include a list of comparables for land valuation? It's, the idea is to look at your financial analysis on the project and determine what the land is worth to you. But, I've thought about this. It's always good to have some idea when you get an answer like that to find out if your answer is valid, if it's, in the right. So I would, you can do whatever you think is best on that. Think about what your upper management would want to know about what you've come up with.
Going back to the zoning question of NE or NG, you can do either one. However, if you select NG, the required amount of open space needs to be included. So in the zoning plan, we'll have all that laid out. So NG, a certain amount of open space has to be provided.
I think the road from the primary entrance crosses over the Lizard Wash. So, it's just the way the terrain is there. I mean, yeah, it was dry when we were there in July, but it's it's a wall. I mean, it's a well, the entrance up to our property will be provided by the developer. So I assume there'll be a bridge across the wash there. Yes. The question about section of land is zone TNZ resort. When you say the property, I guess you're saying that's our property. We won't be doing any rezoning of any. I mean, anything outside of the boundaries of the property we're going to develop, we wouldn't be involved in rezoning that.
If a section of that boundary provided clips a resort overlay, the master developer will take care of ensuring it's the proper use. So if the property is going to require a tentative map, and the master developer will ensure the underlying land use is appropriate.
Any comments, Robin, on whether they can choose to do both zonings in different places, or do they have to choose one or the other?
My understanding was both, so they could do part or all.
Okay. The webinar can be accessed later, correct, Zach? But they'll just see exactly what, it's the exact recording of what we have here.
Yes, the recording will be posted most likely on Friday.
Okay, but no transcript. Just they'll be able to see all the chat questions, though, I guess.
Yes, the chat should show. I'll get a copy of it myself, so I can send it out.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I guess as far as paying for rezoning, if the master developer is doing the rezoning, then that's something they take care of, and that'll be, again, that's one of the things that's included in the price you offer them. So if they're responsible for it, then it's not something that you include in your analysis. It's something that they have to provide. And does a 1-inch margin requirement include header and footer? I think when I did typing, if I had a page number, this was 40 years ago, that was outside the margin. But other than page numbers, I would say keep it all within the 1-inch margin all the way around. Like I said, this, as far as land acquisition costs, this is something we're doing differently this year. Is you have to determine how much the land is worth to you. So we'll talk about this a little more in the webinar for financial analysis tomorrow. But you will, again, hopefully you'll need to do a spreadsheet, probably do this right. So you will guess and check. Say, put in a land acquisition cost. After all the rest of your financial analysis is done, it will tell you the IRR. And then you will adjust that cost to determine what, again, how much the land is worth to you to be able to get the return on investment that your management expects. Yeah. And then as we said a while ago, determine if that's reasonable. If you come up with $1 billion, I think you need to check some of your numbers. Or if you come up with 3, that's also it's going to be interesting. We've never done it this way before, so we expect the interest to see what all the teams come up with. Here's a question about the master HOA fees. Will the residents of this have access to the other amenities on the desert color and be responsible for fees for that?
Yes, so they will be part of the master HOA and will have access to the other amenities located within Desert Color. I can get you the master monthly fee. Give me one moment.
Yeah, yeah. So really, I mean, it doesn't really affect analysis of your project. It's just something else that the homeowners will have to pay in addition to the ones for this development. So
The master association dues are $85 per month.
okay. Not, yeah, no, I don't believe non-residents will have access to the amenities. I'm sure guests will, but I know some of the
non-residents won't have access, to the master plan amenities, and then any amenities offered within the active adult would be limited to those residents.
question about construction costs for the homes. That's up to you to study up and determine what construction costs are in the area of the project. So, there's a lot of, different guides to give you some ideas of what differentials there'd be in different parts of the country compared to North Dakota. And the question for Middle Tennessee, I would say you're not responsible for any capital costs. I mean, with the for the master HOA fee, but that again, since the developer is providing these other amenities, those things, should increase the value of this property. But that's all going to be figured in by, in your market analysis and what you determine the value of this property to be. So, so those are an amenity which makes this property somewhat more valuable to you, but that'll come out in your analysis. We got a little over 5 minutes left, so get your questions in quickly. question about the amenities, that's correct. That the active adult residents will have access to the ones for the desert color community, but other people will not have access to the active adult amenities. These active adults don't want a bunch of kids running around and splashing water in the pool, I guess. Okay, it looks like that's all the questions. So, I don't know, Zach, do you have anything, closing comments to make?
No, just to not forget about the financial webinar tomorrow. That will be at 4 p.m. And also, if you can't make it there, don't forget about the scholarship opportunities. You can apply for the scholarship to help funds to get to IBS. Also, the team list is going to be due November 29th. So without further ado, we'll see you guys tomorrow. If not, we'll see you in Vegas. Thanks.
Oh, one last question here. Yeah, we'll you know, once the land's purchased, we, for the purpose of this problem, we will, you know, say that there you will have access through the primary entrance to the site. So, you know, again, for the purpose of this problem, that is, you know, that will be available on March the 1st. Okay. We'll want to thank Robin Hogan for all of her assistance on this call, and we'll again see you all in Las Vegas.
See you guys.
Thank you.